Welcome to Sirantwi Education channel. Grade 11. Today we're going to focus on term 1 and 2 practical content so that you'll be ready for upcoming June examination. Right. Without wasting much time, I will plead with you. If you have not subscribed to Sirantwi Education channel, may you please do so that you always get new updates or new things on our various platforms. Right, I will check if we have any comments. Don't forget to add them here. And then again, the link for the data files has been shared, and I'm going to share it also again. After the session, you will use the same link to get access to these videos so that you'll be able to practice them on your own. So I'm going to share the data files with everybody right now. Right, so you get a data file and then the question paper also there. Without wasting much time, let me start with the question paper 1. So you have the question paper, and then after the session, you can click on this link to also watch the video again. And then this link will give you access to the data files. Right. I have categorized this session into 5 different parts or different tests. Test 1, 2, 1 and 2 will be Microsoft Word. Test 3 and 4 will be Spreadsheet. And then test 5 will be database. Basically, this will be the structure of your upcoming June paper 1. That's what you have covered, or you would have covered from term 1 to term 2. Right. I will start straight away with the first test, which is Microsoft Word test. Here we are going to focus on the page orientation and then also other formatting in Microsoft Word. Without wasting much time, I would like you to join me and then open the data file. That is one travel. So let's open the data file called one travel together. Please don't forget to bring your comments and then also any suggestion. If you can see, please add them there so that I will be able to check and then fix the errors here. Question number 1. Change the page orientation to portrait and then the page size to A4. So we need to change this one to portrait, and I think it is already portrait. It was supposed to be landscape first. So to change the page orientation, we just go to layout and then you see orientation. So we change it to portrait. Alternatively, you can do so by just double clicking in the middle of the ruler settings. Then it's going to give you the page setup so that you'll be able to change the orientation and any other format. So you'll find page setup. You can change the margin here, and then you can change the paper size and layout, and then you can change the orientation or the landscape. Paper size should be A4, so we change it to A4. Set all the page margins top, bottom, left, and right to 2.5 centimeter. So you go to margin and change everything to 2.5. So already the top and bottom are 2.5. So we change the left and then the right to also 2.5. Take note of the gutter margin also. They can ask you a question to change the gutter to maybe 1 centimeter and then the gutter position to maybe top. They can ask you to do that. and then you click on OK. Then the next one says, insert a built-in facet cover page at the beginning of the document with the title called Explore SA Tours, subtitle Your Gateway to South Africa. The author should be your name and surname, and then the year should be 2026. So we need to insert page or cover page to replace this page. So we go to insert cover page, and then according to the question, we must use the facet one. Then we need to change the title to Explore South Africa. And then the subtitle should be Your Gateway to South Africa. The subtitle. And then the author should be your name. Then the year should be 2026. So the author should be your name. And then the year should be 2026. There's no year here. There's email address. There's abstract. So you need to insert the year with a space there. We have to insert a field or something like that. We need to insert field, which is the document info, or you can just go to document info, then we go to properties, and then we look for the date. We can even put the published date. We should get a space whereby we can add that. Document info or properties. And then we can type, we need maybe 2026, maybe only today. Yeah, only today. Now this question, this cover page does not have a way of putting only like the other pages, cover pages, you will see that it will give you access. So here we can just put the published date, maybe today's date, so that will be inserted there. It's fine. It should be on the cover page. And then, but the other cover pages, like for instance, let me show you other cover pages that contains the year. For instance, I think facet or even the integral and motion. Motion cover page has the year also, or the date. Yeah, it has the year. So motion cover page has a year, unlike the other one. So, but then we should stick to this one, and then we put a date there. Right, the next question. Insert a watermark. Explore SA Talk diagonally across every page. So we need to insert a watermark, and the watermark should be diagonal, and then it should be on every page. So watermark, we get it from design. If you don't know where to find, you can alternatively type watermark, and then you go to custom watermark. Then it should be a text watermark, and then we type Explore SA. And then according to the question, we type it here. According to the question, it should be diagonal. So we take diagonal, which is already there. They can ask you to also change the color of the watermark, and then they can also ask you to change the size of the watermark. If the size is not here, like maybe 140% or 140, you change it, then you click on apply. So you can see you can have it on every single page. That's the basic how to have a watermark. But they can equally ask you, still under the watermark, they can ask you to also insert a text watermark as in a form of symbol. Let's say we want to insert a watermark as a symbol, Wingdings character code 200. So the first thing you do is to insert that symbol. You go to insert symbol, more symbol. Then Wingdings character code 200. And then you click insert. So the symbol will be inserted for you. Then you cut the symbol. You select, you right click and choose cut. Now, whenever you cut something, it goes to a temporary location called clipboard content. So you go to watermark again, design watermark, custom watermark, and then you choose a text watermark. So instead of this text, you paste it there. Now, when you paste it, the font is Wingdings, not Cambria. So you might change it to Wingdings. The font should be the same. And then you can change, let's say, the size. Maybe I want it to be more transparent, and then apply. So you can see that symbol on every page. So that is how we insert a symbol, text watermark. So take note, even though it is not part of this question, but you can get a similar question like that in your examination. Right. Now we are done with the basic, that the page structure. Again, still under the page structure, you can be given a question to change the page color, whereby you go to more colors or fill effect. Then they can ask you to put a gradient page color, 2 colors. Maybe the first color to be red, and then the second color to be green. And then the shading style color should be diagonal down or any other. They can equally ask you to take a texture also, whereby each texture has a name or a pattern style. So watch out for this type of shading, and then you click OK. So they can ask you a question of that nature. Know where to go when you see that type of question. Right. So we move straight to the content editing and then import, which is also part of your Microsoft Word. Question 1.2. That one involves find and replace, drop cap, importing page special, which was done in tab 1. Right. So 1.2.1, please, I'll be checking also here if you have question. How do you insert watermark on all page? Thank you for your question. Let's look at that one. Inserting watermark. This watermark is already inserted. Now the question says it should be on all the other pages except the first page. We don't want watermark on the first page. To achieve that, double click on the footer section so that you see footer and header. And then you take this one, different first page. Now, when you take different first page, if you take different first page, it does what we call section break. It divides the first page from the rest of the pages. So after that, still your footer and header must be activated. Then you go to the second page header. Make sure link to previous is not there. Then you go to the footer, link to previous, you have removed it. Then after that, you click on make sure your footer and header is activated. Otherwise, you cannot remove the watermark. Then you go and then put the mouse pointer on the watermark. It will select it for you. Then you press delete key. So the watermark is deleted on the first page. The rest of the pages are having the watermark. The trick is you take different first page. Now, what if you want to also, you don't want it to appear on the last page, only the second and third. So meaning we are dividing the second page and then the third page from page 4. So also again, before page 4, you click there and then you choose what we call layout. Then you see break and choose continuous section break. Then you double click on the header of the last page. You must remove this link to previous. Deselect it. You go to the footer, deselect link to previous also, so that the last page is deselected, is separated from the other pages. Then again, it can also be deleted from there. So you can see the last page does not have it, but only the second and then the third page are having the watermark. So that is how we solve that particular question based on your question that you asked. Right. Now, let's move to the next one. Use find and replace to replace all occurrences of the word trip with the word tour, merchant case, and then the whole word only, highlighted in yellow. So here we are going to find the word trip. And in order to do that, you go to find and replace, which you can get from home tab. And then you see replace. So we are finding the word trip. And then we replace with the word tour. Then you go to more. The question says you must choose merge case. Merge case meaning that like the way it is typed, capital T must be the same. And then find whole words only the trip, not trips or trip with another or triplet or something. Then you go to the format and then we highlight. So the highlight color obviously will be yellow. If the color you want it to be maybe another color like green or blue, so you choose highlight, but it should be blue color. You must first select the color before you go and choose from format, and then you choose blue color. So say find and replace, can change anything here, font, paragraphs, tabs, and everything, but make sure you have clicked under the tour and then you choose find and replace. Then after that, you go to replace all. So we got one replacement. Right. So one replacement, which is highlighted. Now, apply a drop cap to the first letter of the first paragraph, starting with South Africa, is one of as follows. So here they gave you a screenshot. You have to study the screenshot, and then you do. Now check, what kind of drop cap is this? This is in margin. You can see here, the drop cap is in the margin. It's covering everything. It is not dropped like that. So it is in margin, and then 3 lines, and then 0.5 centimeter, and then the font is changed to Abedi and shaded with yellow color. So this is the one they are talking about, South Africa, this one. And drop cap, you can get it from, insert, or you can just go to search and type drop cap. Add a drop cap, then you go to drop cap options, and then it should be in margins, not drop. And it should be 3 and 0.5 centimeter. Then you click OK. So now we need to select this. We want to shade it with yellow. And then according to the question again, the font should be Abedi. Yes, so those are the things that it needs to be. So you might change the font to Abedi, you select it, and then you change it. Right. Now, what if this one is already there, and then the question wants you to edit the drop cap? When you select the drop cap, you select the edges like this, then you right click, you will see drop cap option, so that you can click there, and then you can now change, modify the drop cap. Let's say if they want you to make it to be 4 lines or 2 lines, then you modify it. So that is how we modify drop cap if it is already existing and then you want to make changes to that. And then the next question, open the one extra .text txt and import or copy its content into the one tool document. Paste it after the important information as a plain text. So here we need to open this and then we copy the content. You copy. Now we are going to paste it according to the question. We need to paste it after the important information. That's the last part. You paste it here. But to paste it, you go to paste. There's an arrow below paste, and then you see paste special. We are pasting it as text, unformatted text, and then OK. The same as it is, you paste it like that. And then use paste special to import. Also, you are bringing the data from one package CSV as a formatted table below the heading one to categories. So we need to bring this one by using special, and then we bring it to that part. Now, meaning is the content. We need to bring it under this heading. So it's the content. So there are several ways of using it, but this question use a paste special. So meaning we need to open that particular one feedback. And there's a content here we need to copy, and then we come and paste it. So we use paste special. Now we are pasting it from Microsoft Word. Remember, they can also ask you to paste it as a link, so that it will be a link that when you double click, let me show you if you're pasting it as a link to Microsoft Word object, and then you display as icon. You can have it like that, so that when you double click, it opens for you. Again, like this question, you only copy, and then you are coming to paste it here using paste special. But it's going to be from Microsoft Word. You are not going to paste it as icon. Then you click OK, so that the content will be there like this, so that it opens. So that is a paste special. Again, they can also ask you when you are pasting. You see here the same destination. This one is keep source formatting. If you want to get the same thing, this one is merging the formatting. This one pasting as a picture like the first one, and keep text only. So you can also use this one so that it shows only the text. So here we can use this one to display the same thing, the destination that you got from, and then you have it. So basically there are several ways of importing using a paste special, either through keeping the formatting, pasting as a picture, or pasting as a plain text, or alternatively pasting as a link, so that when you double click, it opens for you. Watch out for some of these things in spreadsheet. They can ask you to, in Microsoft Word, they can ask you to do that. Right. Then again, import or copy the guest feedback from one feedback. Oh, sorry, this one was one packages. It says you must copy paste special from one packages. Sorry, I didn't get that part. One packages, which is CSV. So we need to copy this. And then we paste it. So this is from. So we have copied it, which is CSV file. Now we are coming to paste it here. So paste special. Also like this, you can use the formatting, keep source formatting, or destination source, or this, or keeping it as a link to the destination, or as a picture, or keep the text only. Then you can also use paste special format because we are bringing from CSV file, or if it is Excel. So the CSV is always a text format, and then you place it there. So basically we can have this copy and then paste by using a CSV file. Alternatively, you can also get a question whereby not just pasting, but you are inserting it as an object. That's where you go to insert, and then you see here, quick path, not insert object, then you see text from file or the object. So here we choose text from file, and then we select our file. So you can also use object to also insert that. So basically you need to check the kind of question that you are asking or you are solving. Right. So let's move straight to the next one. So here we needed to use paste special. You copy and then you paste it as a formatted table. Now import it. So this stays as a formatted table below the heading. So that one you need to put it as a formatted table below that particular heading. So you must place it here as a formatted table. You copy the CSV and then you come and paste it. Using paste special as a formatting. You keep the source formatting so that will be a table for you. Then this table, you can modify it, whatever that you want to do. Right. So that is what this question wanted us to do. But I use that opportunity to explain how to use object to display it, how to insert it as an icon also, which you can get questions of that nature. Now import the guest feedback from one feedback.rtf into the end of the document under a new heading, guest testimonials. So we need to have a new heading called guest testimonial. And then we import the one feedback. So here, when you're importing, that's what you use insert, object, and then you use text from file. So that it will be there as a text from file under the guest feedback or the guest testimonial. So that's how we insert object as a link, inserting object as also the file by keeping the same source formatting. So here for the question 1.2, we focus on find and replace, and then also looking at the importing and then also exporting. Right, now let's go straight to column and then other list. Apply the heading 1 style to all the 3 sections heading, popular destination, and then the tour package categories, as well as the important information. So we need to apply heading 1 on all these. Popular destination, you select it, and then you choose heading 1. Now, after doing that, you can just click on this, and then you click on Format Painter, you select the second heading. It will also be heading 1, and then you click on that, you select the next heading, and then the important information also. All of them will be heading 1. The next one, format the 3 paragraphs under the heading popular destination into 3 columns with a line between, as you can see there. So here, they say we must put a line between, and then the format should look like that. So the 3 headings are Cape Town remains. So you start from Cape Town remains. From here, you select them. And then columns, we can search by typing columns. Add or remove column, then you go to more columns. Or alternatively, you go to layout, you see columns, and then you go to more columns. And it should be 3 columns with a line in between. They can ask you to change the column width and then the spacing, and then okay. Now, if they want, let's say, this text, Stellenbosch, to be on the second column, which is not part of the question, then you need to insert what we call the column break. So you go to layout, breaks, and then you click on column. First of all, you must click on, or before the text that needs to move to the next column, and then you go to breaks, and then you choose column. So it will move to that side. Now, if I want Durban to move to the next column, I click before Durban, layout, breaks, and then I choose column, so that they'll all be on top of each column. So watch out for that question. That's column break. You first insert the column, and then you now insert column break by clicking before the text where you need to move it to the next column, and then you go to layout, breaks, and then you choose column. Right, so that is all about that question. Let's go to 1.3.3, which is about multi-level list. Now, you have been given this multi-level list, and then they want you to do it so that it looks like that. Now, why do we call this multi-level list? It means that one level is below another level. So you can see the first level is this one, which is having A, B, C. The second level is this one. The second level is 0, 1 with a dot. And then the third level is the Roman numerals with a bracket close. So this is also second level. So you first have to identify the level. The first level is A with bracket open and bracket close. The second level is started with 0, 1 with dot. The third level is Roman numerals with bracket close. Now, so we need to open or create these levels. And to do that, you select the text, which start from our package. I think it starts from, let's check the question again. or tour package. Right. It starts from tour package. Sorry, I want to check the right data, tour package categories, and then activities. So meaning it starts from here. I must take out this one. Let me cut this one so that it will be part of. Right, it starts from here. So it starts from here. I must select all these. And then you go to home. Under the paragraph, you will see multi-level list. This one here is called multi-level list. Or alternatively, you can go to search and type multi-level list. And then you go to define new multi-level list. So there are different multi-level lists. We have the level 1, 2, 3, up until level 9. So according to the screenshot, level 1 is ABC. So I click on level 1, then I go to numbers type for this level. I choose ABC, which is this one. And then it should have bracket open. So I go and change it under the enter formatting for number. I open brackets. So you will see it here previewed. Then I go to level 2. According to the question, the level 2 is 01 with a dot. So I go to number style for this level. And then I look for 01, the one that says 01, this one. But it does not have close bracket. I must delete close bracket and put dot. Then I go to level 3, which is Roman numbers with the bracket close. Remember, they can also ask you to change the position over here. The left alignment, the align edge, all of that, they can ask you to change them. Then after that, you click OK. So this is what I have. By default, you are going to get the first level. Now you check your question. The first level, the second level is budget package. So I click before budget package, and then I click on increase indent. It's going to take me to the second level, or you can press the tab key. Let me zoom it so that you can see. Good. This one is also second level, as you can see there. No, the weekend, gateway, and family holiday third level. So I will select weekend and family holidays, and then I click on levels twice. So that will be the third level. Then the standard is the second level. Standard is second level. I click on increase indent. Then self-drive tours are all third level. You select them. 1, 2. Premium package is second level. And then under the premium package, we have 2 luxury and animal, 2 levels. Activities included is first level, so we leave it like that. But airport transfer, accommodation, and others are all second level. So I select all these from airport up until this one, and I choose second level. So basically, this is what the question wanted us to do. You first set it up, then you now use increase and decrease indent so that you have them as the question request you to do. Right, don't forget to bring your questions. Okay, you are scribing watermark. The video will be available again after this session. So you do, yes, I'm doing the whole question. There won't be HTML today because June examination there will not be HTML will be for grade 12. But I don't know, but maybe we will have time and do a little bit of HTML because you did some in grade 10. We will check that also. We will do spreadsheet and database. So just stay tuned. We will move a little bit faster. Right, now let's go to 1.3.4. Format the list of items under the items included on every trip as a bulleted list with a tick box bullet. So this is grade 10 work, taking it as a bullet. There's a list of items here. Items included. Okay, here we have already captured them as a bullet. So now they want us to change this one only as bullets with a tick. So we can do that also and change that one only to bullet. So we are done with question 1. Now let's quickly move to question 2. We are done with question 1. So we are going to move straight to question 2. Through to accommodation. Now the second one says, convert the tab separated text into a proper table. Apply a built-in table style of your choice with a banded rows. So they have a table here, bookings, and they want us to convert this one into a table. They are just a text that we need to convert. And the question says tab separated. That means they are separated with tab. So we go to insert table, and then you see convert text to table. Then it's separated with tabs, not paragraph, not comma. Sometimes they can be separated with comma also. Sometimes they can be separated with / or any other. And then you click OK. Then the question says, apply a built-in table style of your choice. So when you select the table, it's going to give you table design and table layout. So from table design, you see any table style. I can choose one of my favorite style. And then after that, it's a banded rows. Banded row is already selected. They can even ask you to select banded columns and banded rows. So you find them or total rows. They can ask that to have total rows or the last column. So take note of that. Now format the table as follows. Apply a bold and center heading in the first row with a dark blue fill with a white text. So the first heading, this one, already is a white text based on what I chose. So now it says we need to format it as follows. Bold and center heading. So we need to bold it and we have to center it. Now the center, the best one is to go to table layout, and then you see this one, which is align center. And then the font color should be white, which is already white. And then fill with blue color. We can go to table design shading, and then I can choose maybe light blue, lighter blue, or maybe dark blue. Set all margins, that is the top, bottom, left, right to 0.1 centimeter. So to find the margins, you select the table by clicking on this one to select the entire table. Then you see the table layout. And then you are going to find cell margins. They want us to change the margins. Everything should be 0.1. Sometimes they can even ask you to have a default cell spacing also. Maybe another spacing. They want you to have a spacing. So that's the cell margin, and then maybe cell spacing. Set the outer border to 2/4 pt and the inner border to 1 or half PT. So we need to set the border around this. To set the border, you select the entire table, and then you go to table, design. Then the outer border, they say you must use 2.5 PT, any line. No, 2/4 PT. They didn't ask us for color, but I'm going to choose any color, red. And then I go to border and choose outside border. Again, if I want the inside, they said that it should be half, maybe dotted lines with orange border. Then I go and choose inside border. So the outside border is red. The outside border is red, and then the inside border is orange. So you must take note. They can ask that type of question also. And then sort the table record alphabetically by tourist name, keeping the heading rows. So now we need to sort this table using the heading rows. So we select the entire table by clicking on this. And then sorting, you get it from table layout. You see sort. Then you say my header rows. My list has header rows. You take that one. And then we are sorting according to tourist name. So you select sort by tourist name in ascending order, and then you click OK. So we are sorting according to the tourist name in ascending order. Then add a new row at the bottom of the table called totals in column 1. We are adding a new row at the bottom. So you click on the last row, then you go to table layout, you will see row below. And then we are going to have this one here, the totals there. And then column 1, we type totals. Insert word formula in the totals row. Total days, use the sum, and total cost. Both formulas must calculate automatically from the above table, and it should be formatted with this, like a 2 decimal place. Right. So we want the total column for the total cost and then the total days. So I will click before or below the cost. And then from the table layout, you see formula. There's a sum above. Remember the formatting, we should use 2 decimal places. Let's see the format that they gave us. Hashtag with 2 hash and 0. This one. And then you click OK. So this should be the format. And then the total days also, we do the same. We go to formula and then we choose sum above with 37. Right. So basically, that's what the question wanted us to do calculations. Remember, they can even ask you to do average. Let's say we wanted to do average. So we change this one to average. Average above. And then you click OK. You can even do your own calculation there. Sum above times something. Or there are so many calculations that you can do, but watch out for the basic calculation like max, average, and other things. Right. The next question says, below the table, add the following labels and word formula. Average cost per booking, total number of bookings, add the following labels. Okay, we need to add the labels. Highest cost, use max, and then the lowest cost. So we need to calculate all this. Calculate average, calculate the bookings, number of bookings, count, and others. So meaning we need to insert more. We can have more maybe above. We can just insert above. You want average, like I said, and then you calculate average above. So average above, you get an average mark here. And then again, you can insert above. Then you just write the label there as number of bookings. You type it here. And the number of bookings, you use count. So it will be count above. Here, 8. And then again, we have highest cost and lowest cost. So you type highest cost. Highest cost will also be max. And then you insert above also lowest cost. Lowest cost, use min, M-I-N. So this one is just showing various ways of doing calculations, adding above. If you add below, it's going to include the other calculation that you have done. That is why I excluded that part. Right. So the total is also sum. Right, now let's move on to the next question. Under the heading customer feedback form, use a developer type legacy tool to insert a text form field for the tourist name, a text form field for destination, a drop-down form field for rate with the values 1 to 5, a checkbox form field that would recommend us to a friend. Right, so here we need to insert text box form field here. Now take note, whenever you are inserting text box form field, we need to use what we call developer. So if you don't have a developer, you must go to file, and then you go to also options. Then you find customize ribbon, and then look out for this developer. You must make sure that you tick developer before you can make use of it. So when you select this one, we want it to be, let's say we want to use tabs to arrange them nicely. We want to use tabs to arrange them nicely. So I want to use tab stop at 3 centimeter. I double click below 3 centimeter. And then I double click on maybe 8 centimeter. So if I click on this, increase indent is going to move it to 3 centimeter and 8 centimeter. So from 8 centimeter, that's where I'm going to insert the text form field. I go to developer, then you see controls. This one here is a legacy tool. You choose that one and you click on the first one, which is a text form field. Again, I go to this one. I choose text form field. According to the question, tourist name should be text form field, and then also destination must be text form field. So now if you want to modify the text form field, you double click, then you can change the maximum length. Let's say the name should be 25. I type 25 here. And I want to format it to be uppercase. Then I click OK. And then the destination, I double click. Also, I want it to be 30. And then the text form or the format should be first capital. So you see how does it work if I double click and type maybe a name here. Sirantwi. In the default text, it's going to change automatically to capital letters, even though I type in small letters. Right, now the question says the ratings must be a drop-down form field with a rating 1 up until 5. So we go there and choose legacy tool. This is drop-down form field. We call combo box. Then you double click and type the values 1. You press enter, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Now let's say I want to choose 5 to be the first one. I click on move. You can see that 5 will be the first one. Okay, it's a bookmark name. I don't need a bookmark name. Maybe I want to give it a name as rating. If it's giving you a problem, you can just do that. And then the next question says the checkbox for these, you must have checkbox for each of them. So yes must have a checkbox. So you go there and choose checkbox, and then no must also have a checkbox. Now with a checkbox, you can also modify them. When you double click on them, you can change the tick box size. Let's say I want it to be 20. I want it to be larger. You can change it. And then you can also check or uncheck. If you check it, it's going to cross it. So basically, that's how we do text forms called developer. They can ask you some of these questions. Now, they can also ask you, let's say, to have date, current date. If you want to insert date, we use text form field. But then the date type should be current date, or it could be date. Let's say I want current date, and I want the date format to be like this. So that it's going to pick the current date for me. So you must know this as grade 11 learner. You must know how to insert a text form field, how to modify them by double clicking, how to change the field size, text format, how to put the drop down, and then how to put check boxes and then check and uncheck, and then how to put the current date. As for calculation, it's for grade 12. When you get to grade 12, you will study also calculations in a text format. Right. Now, without wasting much time, let's move straight to the next question. Create a new style called Kruger with the following properties. The font should be Calibri. Font size should be 14 pt. Dark orange, it should be bold, and then we apply it on these two headings. So you can be given a question to create a style or modify a style. If you are asked to modify a style, let's say existing style heading 1, you right click and choose modify. Then you can now make changes to that. After that, you take this one, automatically update. But now if they say create a new style, under the style group, you click on this arrow, you will see here that says new style. Or you click on this arrow, this side here, you see create a style. So I think the second method is better. Click on the drop down arrow next to style, and then you see create a style. Then you type the style name and click on modify. Or you can go to search and say style. You see text style, and then you see create style. So you can use any of these methods. The style name should be called Kruger. And then you click on modify. The style 14 pt, the size, The style should be bold and dark orange font. So the font is Calibri. Is it Calibri? Yeah, we have to change the font. And then it should be bold and then also orange color. So the font color should be orange. Now, there are other formatting that they can ask you to do also, like the indent. And then you go to format, you will see font. They can ask you to change the font, like with the small caps or advanced character spacing. Character spacing is under advanced, expanded by, let's say, 1.5 pt, and then OK. They can also ask you to put a paragraph border and others before and after, or border, or change any of the text effects, solid fill and gradient fill, text effects. They can ask you some of these things, so watch out for that. After all this, let me remove the text effect. After all this, then you take this automatically updates, and then OK. So that for heading will be here. Now the question says we need to add it to customer feedback and then also revenue chart. So we have to look for customer feedback here, and then you click on Kruger, and then also revenue chart. So that's how we create things of that nature, and then insert the chart from for revenue. So this question is different. If we have for revenue, which is not here, whereby we can be asked to insert a chart from there, like we did previously, how to insert a chart as a link. Right, that is all about question 2 for Microsoft Word. You need to know this, and of course, find and replace watermark, all these styles, and then drop cap. That is what you need to know as a grade 11 learner regarding Microsoft Word. Without wasting much time, I will check the comment section before I go to Spreadsheet, and then we go to database. Right, now let's move straight to Spreadsheet. We are done with Microsoft Word, so we're going to move to Spreadsheet with 3 departure question 3. And now the first question says merge and center the title in A1 across A1 to H1. So from A1, we need to merge and center up to H1. And then you see merge and center over here. Then the next question says apply the following format in bold, font size of 16. So we should bold it and change the font size to 16. Dark blue fill, you go to the fill, dark blue. And then white text, font color, white. And then the height, row height should be 30. You right click on row 1, you see row height, then you type 30. So that is the first part of the question. You must know how to fill. Again, the filling. There's another part of filling here that you must know as a grade 11 learner. When you right click and choose format cell, you see fill, and then you see gradient fill, which is fill effect, and then the pattern style fill. They can ask you these questions. So if you want a gradient fill, you go there, 2 colors, you change the colors, whether vertical up or from corner or from center, and OK. So that's the gradient fill. They can ask you that question also. And then the next one, format the headings in row 3 as follows: bold, center, horizontally and vertically. Gold dark text, that means the text color should be gold dark. apply a ref text to the revenue, and then change the rating to 90 degrees orientation. So first of all, we need to bold and center horizontally and vertically. So this is row 3. We select all of them. Then you bold it. Center horizontally and vertically is this one. You click middle align and then also center. Then the next question says dark gold text. That's the text color. Font color should be dark gold. This one. I think dark gold is part of orange. It's orange. If you don't have it, you can select orange color. And then apply rep text to the revenue. This one, you click on rep text. And then rotate the rating heading to 90 degrees. This is rating. To rotate it to 90 degrees, from the alignment, you see this one. You click on orientation, rotate 90 degrees. I think it's this one, rotate up. If you are not sure, go there and click on format cell alignment. You see the degrees here, you type 90 degrees. Rename the sheet 1 to tour sales. So we double click to rename. And it says again, delete the worksheet called old note. So we have to delete this worksheet. You right click and choose delete. Insert a blank worksheet called summary and move it to the last worksheet. So you click on this plus, then you double click to type summary. It's already on the last, but now you can move it to even first. So you must know how to arrange them. Right, that's all about question 3.1.5. Now let's go to question 3.2 that involves a little bit of calculation. And it says in cell E4, insert the formula to calculate the revenue, which is price times visitors. So here we need to insert a formula to calculate revenue here. And they gave us the formula. They said price times visitors. So you press equal sign, click on the value for price times the visitors value. That's the basic calculation from grade 10. Now, after that, you double click to autofill for each and every cell to have it. Then the next one, copy the formula down to E15. Yeah, we did that. You autofill, you click here, put the mouse pointer there, and you double click to autofill. And then format it with currency with no decimal place. So when you select it, you go to number format, currency, 0 decimal place, and then OK. Insert in G4 the formula to calculate the VAT using the VAT rate in K3. The formula must use absolute reference to K3 so that it can be copied down. Now, there's a VAT value here in column K. Now we need to put the formula here to calculate the VAT of this revenue. Yeah, to calculate the VAT amount using the revenue value here. So to do that, we need to use absolute reference. There are two ways of doing that. We can put a dollar sign or we can put the name range. Let me start with the dollar sign. So I will press equal sign. And then I click on the revenue amount times the value in K3. But the K3 must be absolute. That means it shouldn't change. So I must put the dollar sign before K and dollar sign after K so that it becomes constant. Then I can autofill. Now, if you don't know how to put a dollar sign, alternatively, you can do this by naming this point or this cell. Give it a name. You right click and choose define name. I can give it a name as A. Then when I come here, I press equal sign, the revenue times our A. And then we press enter. So giving it a name as A called name range. Use the name range. So when you go there, instead of K3, it's going to give you that particular name. So that is how we use name range to make Excel absolute so that we can use it for our various calculations. Right. Then the next one in B20, use a function to return the highest revenue. Now I will tell you here, we want to put the highest revenue here in H or in B20 here. Now I want to tell you this, everybody must take note that in grade 11, I will advise that you use, whenever they're asking for highest, second highest, or biggest, make use of large. And if they are talking about the smallest, second smallest value, make use of small. So large will cater for all the bigger values, and then small for the smaller values. So here we want the largest revenue, press equal sign large. And then you click on FX. The array is the range. You select all the values under revenue. You select them. And then K is the position when you arrange them from highest to smallest. But because the question says we want the highest, K will be 1. If the question says the second highest, K will now be 2. Then here the second highest, also large. But then the array, you select all the revenues. And then the K will be 2. Second highest, K will be 2. Then the lowest revenue, we use small. Lowest, we use small. Second lowest, we use small also. Lowest revenue. And then our K will be 1. The smallest value, when you arrange them from smallest to highest, we use small. And then the average visitors. Average visitors. Now, we want the average of the visitors value. These are the visitors value. We want the average of it. So we say equals to average. Now, the question says, let's read the question in full. In cell B23, use the average function combined with a round to return the average number of visitors, rounded to the nearest whole number. So we are using both the round function and then the average function. Then we take it to the nearest whole number. So when you are doing that, you can use, you can start by calculating it somewhere here next to it. And then you say equals to average. And then you select all the revenue. Then you press enter. So we have our average amount here. Now we are rounding it to 0 decimal place. We come to where we have to put the answer. We say equals to round. And then you click on FX. The number, you click on the answer for your average. And then the num digit, that's how many digits do you want? 0. Then you click OK. So here you have to break it down first by calculating the average, and then second by using the round function to round it to 0 decimal place. Now, count of Western Cape. Let's check the question again. Okay, we are yet to go there. Let's go to 3.3.1. And then 3.3.1, it says, apply an appropriate spreadsheet feature to the revenue column so that any cell with a value greater than 5 million is filled with green and bold white text. Now, whenever you are applying certain formatting, you are formatting them based on certain condition. We call it conditional formatting. So whenever you are formatting something based on a condition or a criteria, we call it conditional formatting. So this question here is a spreadsheet feature. That means they want us to use conditional formatting to highlight whenever the value is 5 million and above, or 5 million, more than 5 million, and it should be green and bold. So we are using the revenue column. You select all of them. Don't include the headings, please. And the conditional formatting is on home tab. You see it here. Or if you don't know where to find it, go to search and type conditional formatting. Now, when you click on it, say highlight rules. There are so many rules. Highlight rules, and it's greater than. We have less than, between, and all those things. Greater than, then you type 5 million. And then we are going to format them. So you click on this arrow and choose customize format. Customize format. And now the question says, we should make it to be filled with green color. So fill with the green color. And then the text should be bold and then white text color. So the font color should be white and then it should be bold. Then okay. So this is how it's going to look like. The text should be white, it should be filled with green color, and it should be bold. So all the amount that are more than 5 million will have that particular formatting. So that is the conditional formatting. Take note of that, how to apply it. It's also part of this term's work. Now, 3.3.2, also apply conditional formatting to the ratings column in column F using a 3-color scale, red, yellow, and green. So column F, we select them, conditional formatting. This time it says we must use 3-color scale of red, green, and then, so these are different colors. If you don't know the right color, you can go to more rules and change the color. Color scale is 3. You can change the colors here. Now the color says red, yellow, green. So red, yellow, green. If they ask you to make it to be different colors, to change maybe orange, red, and other color. That means the lowest values will be having orange. As it's moving to the midpoint percentage, it changes to red. And as it's moving to the highest values, it changes to green. That is how this question wanted. So meaning the lowest values will be having red and others. So that is the color scale. We have, of course, other conditional formatting like data bars, or let's say if I want to have the top 3, I go to top or bottom rules. If I want to get those who got above average, I can highlight it. Or formatting top or bottom rules, the top 3, I go to top 10 items, and then I change the 10 to 3 to give you the top 3. So there are so many ways of applying this conditional formatting. You must take note of that. Now, in B21, use a function to calculate the total number of destinations that are in Western Cape. Please take note, if the question says total number, total together with number means count if. There's a condition called Western Cape. So total number of destinations that are from Western Cape. But if you say total, then or total revenue or other than sort sum if. So this one you have to use count if. Now I'm going to put it here. Total number of destination for Western Cape equal sign count if. Of course, you can use count if also, which is correct. And then you click on FX. The range, there's a total number of those from Western Cape. Where do you see Western Cape? From column B. So the range, you select the values in column B. And the criteria, we are looking for Western Cape. So you can type Western Cape in full. We got 4. Alternatively, we could have done that by saying equals to count if. The range, you select them. Then the Western Cape, we can pick the first 3 letters. First 3 letters, which is Western. We can just say WES star. That means it begins with WES, also 4. Or you can say Western. We can just say star, Western, star. Meaning it contains the word Western. The reason why I didn't say West is that Northwest also contains West. So it's going to give you wrong answer. So it's a Western. And then we got 4 also. So you can use the asterisk before and after. You can pick first 3 letters, first 4 or first 5, so that it will display that for you. Now, total revenue for KwaZulu-Natal. Because of the word total revenue, we use sum if. It did not say total number, it's a total revenue. That means we are adding all the revenues for KwaZulu-Natal, KZN. So we use sum if. Range is the same as the country range. Where do we see KwaZulu-Natal? In column B. Then the criteria, we are looking for KZN. You type KZN. And the sum range, they said total revenue. Because the sum range will be the revenue column. Because it says the total revenue, the sum of the revenue values. So this is what we've got. So you must know the difference between sum if and then count if. Count if when it says total number. Sum if when it says total without the word number, like total cost, total revenue, total age. You must look out for that. Right. So that is all for question 3. Without wasting much time, we move straight to question 4. I'll be checking. Okay, I'm assuming. Okay, I will do that. Thank you. Yes, multi-level lists will still be there. I will zoom them, please, for you. Now let's go to question 4. For cost. Okay, I'm going to make them a little bit bigger. Making them bigger so that everybody will see. Right. Now, the first question. Question 4. We are focusing on count if, sum if, and then ifs. So that is the question 4. The focus will be on that. And then also graph. Then lastly, we finish with database. Database is not a lot. You're gonna do database last part, so you will just do few about table and queries. Now it says in cell F4, insert a function. Insert an if function that will display high season if the month in column D is December, January, or July. Otherwise, it should be low season. Right. So meaning that if the month is December, January, or July, then it should be high, otherwise low season. And the question says you can use all functions together with what if statement. Now we are going to put the answer in F. So if this amount here is either July or December or January, then it should be high season, otherwise low season. So I'm going to use if statement, equal sign if, and then you click on FX. So the logical text, we are going to compare the month. But then they said if the month is either December, January, or July, we say high season, otherwise low season. But we need to combine them with all functions. So here I'm going to put high season, which is value if true, and value if false will be low season. But the logical test is where I must test the condition, because it says if it is December, January, or July. So I have to put all function, OR, then open bracket, all function, and then we also have end function, which we call them logical functions. So when I put all function with the open bracket, you will see them here. Then I go to the formula bar and click after the all function here. It's going to open all for me, which say the logical test 1. Then I test the condition here. When the value in D4 is equals to January, which is JAN, or the value in D4 is equals to December, or the value in D4 is equals to July. So the value in D4, I'm comparing here because that's where I'm putting the answer. After that, I will drag it down. So the OR function can combine several conditions together. Now, after that, I go back to my if statement from the formula bar. I click just after if, then I can put the values here as high season. Remember, I deleted it there, and here will be low season. So you see, some of them are high season, some of them are low season. Right, that is one way. Another way is to also break it down. You could have also broken it down so that it becomes easier for you to do that. We can also use if or no if function instead of if. Just the equal sign if. Remember, if you can only find it in Office 365 and then Office 2019. So if, then logical test, we put all function, then open bracket. Then we go and click the bracket open and close for all function. Then we break it down. If D4 is equals to December, or D4 is equals to January, or D4 is equals to July. Then when you are done using the all function, go and click just after ifs. Click here again. Then the value if true is high season. Then where it says logical test 2, you type true. True means otherwise, the false part, when you are using ifs. And then the value if true, you say low season. Then you click OK. You are also going to get the same answer as if statement. So you can use ifs, can use if function to also get your answer correct. Right. So this is the high order for grade 11, combining if statement with another function like or and then end. But then we are going to see other questions that are a bit easier. Now, let's move straight to 4.1.2. That is where the if function there is also easier. It says insert a function in I4 to determine the tourist, if the tourist qualify for a discount or not. Use the table below to guide you for the conditions. So we say the guide paid amount. When the guide amount is above 800, we say qualified. When the guide amount is 800 and below, we say do not qualify. So here there are two conditions. There are two conditions when it is above 800 and when it is 800 and below. So let's take a look at that. And we are going to put it here. Now, also, I'm going to enlarge it so that you can see. Right. The first condition says when the guide amount here is above 800. So we just use equal sign if statement, double click on it. Then you go to FX. So the condition, you are testing the guide amount. So because you are putting the answer in row 4, you must only refer to the G4 value, not all of them. So you are comparing this one, which is G4, when it is greater than 800. You stick to the first condition. You say when it's above. So the guide amount is the G4. When it's above means greater than 800. When it's more than 800, the value if true is qualified. Otherwise, you don't have to put another if statement here again. That will be the false part. So otherwise, we say do not qualify. This is a simple if statement. Do not qualify. So when you drag down, some will be qualified, some will not qualify. So that is how we use if statement when the conditions are true. Now let's see when the conditions are, let's also look at if statement. So if I'm going to use if equal sign, if logical test, you test this one, G4 greater than 800. Then the value if true say qualified. Logical test 2, you click on G4 again, this time less than or equals to 800. Then we say do not qualify. So the first condition is when it's greater than 800, we say qualify. If it's less than or equals to 800, we say do not qualify. Also, we get the same results. So basically, you can use this or still under the ifs. Where it says G4 greater or equals to 800, you can just say true, which is the otherwise, and it's still going to give the same answer. You just represent that less than or equals to 800 with the word true. Don't put true in inverted comma, and it's still going to give you the right answer. Right, so that's all about if and then if condition. Now let's go to count if. Insert in case 6, a function, a count if function that count the total number. Again, whenever you see total number means count if of bookings for Cape Town. Total number of bookings for Cape Town. And now the question is asking us to scroll down for each and every word. So you just say equal sign count if. So total, the range, we see where we find Cape Town, which is this one, destination. Right. And then the criteria. We don't need to type Cape Town. Why? Because the question says the formula must work correctly when copied down to J12. That means we have to use relative reference. So instead of us to type Cape Town here, we click on Cape Town, J6 and OK. So we get 5. If we autofill, it will calculate for Kruger Park, Durban, and other ones. So if you get a question like that, you don't, and then they want you to copy down using count if, do not type the Cape Town or those things. You just click on the cell that contains that particular destination, then you autofill. Right. Now, the next question also says, insert in L6 a sum if function that calculates the total value for Cape Town. Also, you must autofill. So here, equals to sum if. And then the range, again, will be the destinations. Criteria. For the criteria, we are not looking for Cape Town. We can't type Cape Town here because we want to autofill. So criteria, again, we click here. And in the sum range, we select the total revenue. What is the cost? And then okay. Right, so we have them here. Destination, booking, and others. So here we can autofill. You drag down. Okay, gave us different answer for Kruger. I think it's okay. Now the problem is because we are autofilling, these ones will not be the same, the ranges. So the mistake that we made here, let's go and correct it. This C4 to C23, we must make it absolute. So we have to put a dollar sign before and after whenever you are scrolling down. So these ones must be dollar sign before for the range, or you can give it a name. And then you press enter. So here, if we autofill, we get the right values. Right. Then again, this part also, we need to put the dollar sign from C3 up to C23 so that if we autofill, we get the right answers. Good. So here, we need to make sure that we use the dollar sign to make it absolute. Whenever the question says when you autofill, and then you are referring to each of them here. Right. That is how we need to solve these two questions. Then in cell I-16, use count if function to determine how many bookings were made as high season in column F. So how many bookings were high season here? So you use count if. So the range will be the seasons range, and then the criteria high season. So you can just say star high star. That means contain the word high, and we got 11. So 11 of them were high season. Right. So you put a star before, star after, meaning contain. We call them wild card. Wild card. It's easier to solve these count ifs and then the sum ifs function. Now the graphs. The last part is the graph. Then we move on to database. The graph was given to us like this, or they said we must create a graph using the values in J5 to L12. And then they have given us instructions there. So first of all, let's calculate the graph. Or let's use this one to draw the graph. So we have this, and then we need to draw the graph so that it looks exactly as you can see there. It's the revenues versus the destination. So the destination and the total revenue. So you first select the destinations, or you can only select this one, it's fine, the values. And then you hold down the control key, and then you select the total revenue. We are not including the bookings, because if you do like this, it's going to give you a problem. So you select the destination, hold down the control key to select the total revenue, and then you go to insert. So here we're going to use the column, the 3D one, because only 3D chart that you can have it like this. You can see here is 3-dimensional. Now, after that, the question says, format the chart title as revenue analysis. So we can put our chart somewhere here. Let me take it down. Or I can move it to a new worksheet called chart. It's fine. I click on it, then I go to move chart to a new worksheet, so that it will be free, so that I can create my own chart there and modify them. So the chart title should be Tourism Revenue Analysis 2026. X-axis should be destination, and then so I have them here. Chart title, Tourism Revenue Analysis. And then the axis X is destination, and then this is revenue. So when you click on it, you see the chart element, this one. You take axis title, then I can now type the X axis, which is supposed to be destination. And then this one, I change it to revenue. I change this one to revenue into bracket R. As you can see from the question paper. And then again, show data labels showing the revenue values. So we need to indicate the revenue values. When you click on it, you see data labels to be on top. And again, it says show the legend at the bottom of the chart. So I go to legend, and then bottom of the chart will be there. Now, the legend is giving me series. I'm going to change it. Don't worry. And now, the key thing here is, if you check the screenshot, we are having here in percentages from 0 and 10. But here we don't have percentages. So we need to change them, format axis. And then we want it to be in percentages. The values there should be in percentage. Okay, they are minimum and then the maximum. We will look at that. But format axis. With the values, the options there for minimum 0 and then maximum. But from the screenshot here shows percentage with a 0 and then also up to 100%. Okay, I will come there, but I don't know why it gave us percentage. The note did not specify that, but we will look at that. But now let's change it first to the shape that you see here. Let's change that one. So when you select the data, when you select them like this, and then there are several ways of doing that. You can right click and choose format data series. Then you choose here, it's a full pyramid. I think it's a full one, it's not partial. From the screenshot, it's a full pyramid, this one. And then you go to fill. Then you click here and choose fill, and then choose vary colors by point, so that they will have different colors, as you can see on the screen. Right. So we fill vary by colors, and then also we chose this one. Now, we have the Cape Town, Kruger, and everything there as our destination. Now, this one here, the data point, the number format there with the labels, the position is fine, and then the tick mark is fine there. But this axis here, starting from 0 to 5,000, and then these ones must be the point of 10. Not reverse order. The display unit it's fine there, maybe in hundreds, showing from 0, and then each of them will be in a unit of, I think, 10. Ten is very small. Let's go back to 5,000. Yeah. So I think the problem is the percentage, because this one took it as a percentage. But then when you are doing the bar chart and that, it should be in a form of numbers, not percentage. The screenshot, I made a mistake here first. It shouldn't be percentage. When it is pie chart and added, that's where it's supposed to be percentage. So basically it was first done in pie chart before we converted. That is why it's showing that. So now what you need to do, or you need to know, is how to change them and how to put the data labels and how to place the legend to the left or to right or wherever you want to do. Remember, whatever you do, just click on it and right click. You will see formatting there, and it's going to give you the options. If you are formatting this one, you right click, format legend. It's going to give you option to do. If you are changing this one, you right click, format series or plot area. If you want to insert a background, you right click. You can fill in or fill the background color, any color that you want to choose. So basically, that's what you need to know regarding bar graph also. If you want to fill a particular one, you double click and then you right click, then you can see the filling part. But because this one we chose vary by point, you cannot change them unless we change everything from vary by point, right? Or by different colors. That is all about spreadsheet. Now, it says use a spreadsheet feature to ensure that each column has different field. That's the one we did, vary by colors. Now we move straight to, we finalize with the database. Database, we are not going to spend much time on that. If you have any question about spreadsheet, you can add it so that I discuss that one with you. But without wasting much time, let's move straight to database. Database is going to focus, we are going to focus on database table and then query. Database table and simple query. That is what we need to know in grade 11. Right. So 5.1.1, it says import the data from 5 tourists into a new table called tourists. So now the table is not here. We need to create our new database. So you right click and choose new, then you choose database, Microsoft Access database. And then you double click on it to open the database, which is Access. Now the question says we have to import the data from 5tourist.csv file, comma, separated file. Allow access to suggest a primary key or choose no primary key at the import and set it yourself in 5.1.2. So here we are going to import into a new table. So to import, you go to external data, and then you will see import and link, and then export. So we are going to use import with new data source, and then from file. Then we choose, it is not Excel, it is CSV. So we choose text file, and then we browse. So we are going to select it from our data set, which is 5 tourists. Then you click OK. Now you must take delimited because they are separated by a comma, and then you go to next. Then you take here, first row contains field names. Our first row contains field name, that's the headings. And then we are using comma. Then you go to next. It is asking you to change them. You don't need that. And then you go to next. Then, like the question said, you need to let Access choose for you or use your own. So here we are going to say, I will choose my own or no primary key, meaning that I'm going to choose my own primary key at the end. And then you go to next. Then again, the name of the file, let's go and check. It says, yeah, it should be the same 5 tourists. And then you go to finish. Now, when you click on finish, we have the database table here. You double click, you will see the table with the field names and everything imported for you. Then it says, open the 5 tourists or table in design view, set the tourist field or ID field as a primary key. Now, when you say primary key is a unique field. It means that it should not be duplicated, or no two records should have the same field, or should have the same, no two records should have the same thing. So now when you go there, design view, how do you change? This is data sheet view. So when you go to home, you see view, data sheet view, view, design view. Design view is where we format or change the properties of the field. And then data sheet view is where we capture records. So now the question says we must change this one as a primary key. You right click on it and choose primary key, so that you will not have two people having the same tourist ID. And a typical example of primary key is ID number, which you are the only one having it, that cannot be shared with any other person. Then the next one says set the correct data type for each field. They have given you here. The name should be short text and should be 40 characters. So we start there, the name, short text, the number of character field size, we type 40. And then the destination should be short text 25. So you go to destination, short text also 25. Then the booking date should be date and time, but it should be short date. Booking date, date and time is selected, and it should be short date format. So you go there and choose short date. The cost should be currency with no decimal place. The cost, you change from number to currency. And then the number of decimal place, you go to here and choose currency. Decimal place should be 0. And then also the phone number should be short text, 15 characters. The phone number should be short text, and it should be 15 characters. Now, phone number should be short text and then 15 characters. So phone number, we change it to short text, and it should be 15 characters. So the phone number should be short text and 15 characters. Right. And then the night should be number, but it should be integer. The night should be number and also integer. Number, and then we change the field size to integer. So you do this to change each and every of these formatting. Make sure you know how to change them. Right. The booking date field must be compulsory. A user may not leave it empty. When they say compulsory, booking date, compulsory, you change it to required yes. So required property, you change it to yes. And then the night field must only accept values between 1 and 30. Insert appropriate validation text. Night must be from 1 to 30. So this is the night field. And then it says it must be from 1 to 30. So we go to validation rule and say between 1 and 30. Between 1 and 30. Now I'm going to show you. When you say between 1 and 30, that means from 1 to 30. Whenever you type this as validation rule, between 1 and 30, meaning from 1 to 30, or it is the same as greater than or equal to 1 and less than or equal to 30. So they are the same as the validation text. And then the validation rule or that's the validation rule. And text will be night should be from 1 to 30, or only nights from 1 to 30 are allowed. The validation text is a message describing the rule. So you type it there under the validation text. Now it says switch back to datasheet view and then apply the following formatting. Now we are going back to datasheet view. Then we apply the formatting as displayed over there. So we change it to datasheet view by going to view, and then we choose datasheet view. So it will prompt you to save. You must save them. So now we are going to change this formatting. Right, the first part says row height should be 25. So you right click on any of the row and then you see row height. Then you type there 25. Background color should be any light blue and the alternate color should be any light gray. So how do you change the background color and then the alternate color? You can go to tell me what to do and type format cell. Just type cell, you see format cell. Or you go to text formatting, there's an arrow here, you go there. And then we change the background color to light blue. And then the alternate background color to light gray. Then the question says, grid lines both vertical and horizontal visible. So the grid lines must be shown. So visible means you must take them. So if they say only horizontal, you must remove this one. Right, there are other things that you can do it also here. They can ask you to also change the line, border and line style to maybe column header underline, and then you change it, short dash or dash. They can ask you to change the grid line color or cell effect. You must watch out for that. Right, and then the next question, add a record to the table. Storage should be T016, so we are adding a record. You type them here, T016, then you press the tab key to go there. You type your full name. And then booking date from Taun, any date there. Then the cost amount, maybe 8 or 520. And then the phone number. And then the night will be, let's say 2. So you fill in the information provided to you. Right. And then you are done. So basically, that is how we do tables. But then there's another important table formatting that is called the validation rule and the input mask. Input mask, let's say they want you to create input mask for the cell phone number so that it will be only 10 digits. So you go to input mask and put 10 zeros. So each zero for input mask, they will always give you 0 means what? When you put 0, it means compulsory number. If you put 9, it's optional number. If you put L, it's compulsory letter. If you put question mark, it's optional letter. At this stage, you must know this. Right. So if the question says maybe the code, like for instance, this one, we want to create a code for input mask for tourist ID. Look at it. The first one is a letter, and then the next 3 is what? Number. So the best conditional formatting for that one, or the input mark for that will be L and then 3 zeros. So the L means compulsory letter, and then the 3 zeros compulsory number. Then when you put greater than means uppercase, meaning that L will be the uppercase. So it's gonna give like T012. The T is capital, hence we put the uppercase. And then this L here means a letter. And then the three numbers, each of them represented by 0. We call this one input mask. Character sheet. So grade 12, grade 11, they will always give you the input mask character sheet. Then you always refer to that. Right. Then we move straight to queries. How to create a query. At this stage, term 2, you must know how to create basic query. You don't need to create a complicated query as a grade 11 learner. It should be basic query. Now, it says create a query called KRY Cape Town based on the tourist table. Display the field names, name, destination, and booking date, as well as cost. So we are going to create a query called KRY Cape Town. So we save. To create a query, you go to create and then you choose query design. This one. Then you double click on the table to display all the table for you. Now, according to the question, it says we have to display one, the name. So you look for name and double click. It will show here. We need to display destination and booking date and cost. Show only tourists going to Cape Town. So we need to display when I run it. If you want to see in other view, you go to view and then data sheet view. Now, if I want to select only Cape Town, they said only Cape Town. So destination should only be Cape Town according to the question. Show only tourists going to Cape Town, and then sort by booking date, oldest first. So only Cape Town. So we go to view and then design view. So under the destination, we are looking for only Cape Town. So you can just put star and say Cape star. You use the wildcard. I think you remember wildcards in spreadsheet, star, Cape, star. That means contains Cape. And then you run it. So it shows only Cape Town. Now, again, it says you must sort according to booking date. So booking date, oldest first. So you must sort in descending order. Oldest first, that means it's ascending order. From 2026, January up to the March 20th, from the oldest first. If it says newest first, you sort in descending order because of date. Right. Now, the question says it should be called KRY Cape Town. So after that, you try to close it. So do you want to save it? You say yes. And then you type there KRY Cape Town. And then OK. So you see the query here and you see your table. Then the next one says create a query called KRY Premium based on the tourist table. Display all the fields. Show only tourists whose cost is more than 10,000. And then sort by the cost highest first. So again, we go to create query design based on the 5 tourists. Show all the fields. That means we need all of them. So phone number also, night. Then after that, the question says we need to display where the cost is more than 10,000. So under the cost, the criteria, we put greater than 10,000. Don't put the rent symbol. Let's run it and see. So only the cost That's more than 10,000 are displayed here. And then again, the question says, sort by the cost highest first. So under the cost, the sort, you see sort in descending order. Highest first meaning bigger first, descending order. Right, those are the basic queries that you must know. Then you save it as QRY premium. Right, so if let's say you are modifying the query, you have made a mistake, just right click on it and choose design view. Then you can now make the changes over there. So that's how we modify any query, how to sort and how to create a. So at this stage, this is what as a grade 11 learner, you need to know for your June examination, just the basic query and then also basic table formatting and then properties. That's all that you need to know. And then spreadsheet and also Microsoft Word. I wish you all the best. This video will be available for you. You can watch it again and then you try to practice also. Thank you for your precious time. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Good day.